Welcome back to the garage. Something a bit different for you today. The other day I mentioned that I've been running this fermenting fridge off solar, and a couple of people asked me to just do a video, show them how I've done it. So that's now.
This video is provided for entertainment purposes only. It does not intend to demonstrate or instruct how to install or maintain power equipment safely. Always employ or consult a qualified electrician before considering electrical work. Electricity is dangerous and does kill people. I accept no responsibility for any use or misuse you make of the contents of this entertainment video. You have been warned. Now, the show must go on.
Okay, now we've got that out the way, a couple of points I need to bring up here first. This system I'm using was never bought with the intention of using it in brewing in any way. If I was to be thinking about doing that seriously, I certainly wouldn't be looking to run a boiler or anything on it. And if I wanted to power the fermenting fridge longer term, or to do it on days when there's been very little or no sun, it would need a bigger battery bank. So with that out the way, let's show you what I've got and how I've done it. Okay, due to space restrictions, trying to get myself here and a camera and everything, this is being done on the 360 camera, so apologies if the quality isn't as good as normal. It starts up on the roof. As you can see, there's two panels. They are both supposedly 120 watt panels, and I've had them put out pretty much bang on 240 watts between the two of them. So they probably are what they say they are. From the roof, it comes in here. I do need to tidy that wire up, but it comes in here. You've got a negative wire going straight into the charge controller. This is the charge controller. This is what controls what goes into the battery, and it's also got a handy feature that this one will automatically adjust the voltage. So if your battery is low, it will quite happily put lower voltage into the battery at a higher current to charge it up quicker. There's the red positive wire comes around to a shut off here. So that isolator, which is rated at 40 amps, it's a 12 volt system. So this is a 12 volt 40 amp isolator. Press that button, solar panel's completely isolated. From there into the charge controller. So these are the two wires here from the solar panel. Okay, this EP-Ever system's got several modes. I don't know if you're going to be able to see the screen, but it will quite happily tell you if it's charging, what voltage it's currently putting to the battery, roughly how full it thinks the battery is. And it's also got the ability for you to put a 12 volt load directly on the controller there. For my setup, I'm not using any 12 volt load, but if I was, it would be there, and the charge controller would be able to track what current that was taking, and so on and so forth. From there, we got these two wires coming out. Top route goes straight through a fuse. This is the fuse that came with the kit. Through a battery isolator. Turn this off, the battery is completely isolated. So I can isolate it on this side or that side, no trouble at all. Okay, and the the negative, straight out to the battery terminal. Okay, from there I've got wire into the inverter from negative, and after the fuse wire into the inverter for positive. So this is the thing that takes the 12 volt from the battery Now this is only a small one. It's not designed to do high power stuff. It will handle up to 12,000 watt peak, but it's only designed to do 600 watt continuous. And for what I use it for, which it was purchased so we could run some LEDs or my CPAP machine if we had the threatened winter power cuts. That's what this system was originally spec'd for. Just enough to keep us lit up if the whole area went dark and the power went out, or to keep my CPAP machine running overnight so I could still sleep half decently. So this thing will put out 600 watts continuous, not for very long. It's only a 50 amp hour battery, as you can see, but it will quite happily do that. At the moment, in the outlet there, I've just got a heated mat for some seeds I'm starting off, and that's quite happily powering that at the moment. Now there will come a time, if you get several days with no decent sun, that the battery goes flat. On those occasions I've got a normal mains power strip connected to the mains. I can literally just unplug stuff from there and plug it in there and keep it going if I need to. This wire here goes up to a little brown box that might not be visible to the camera, but it's just a data logger so that I can see how the solar's been performing. It's also plugged into a Raspberry Pi. All of it's disconnected at the moment because I've moved the network cables and everything out of the way to show you the solar. So that's it. It's quite straightforward. I'm not an electrician. I'm not saying it's right. I'm not saying it's wrong. It works for me. It is not in any way connected to the mains or the grid. It's not a grid tied system. It's an off-grid system. The sort of thing you might put in a shed or a little holiday home which hasn't got any mains power. If you're thinking of doing something like this, the batteries are not cheap. This whole system, so with a much cheaper and nastier charge controller, the two panels, the power inverter and the battery, I think are on Amazon for $5.99. I got them on a Black Friday special for nearly half that price, and at the time I thought that was a decent enough price to guarantee some power sustainability throughout the winter if the mains grid shut off. Since then I've upgraded to this charge controller, which I can do monitoring on, and it's also a lot more efficient than the cheap horrible thing that came with the system. And you don't get the isolators in the kit either, so you'll probably want some of them because it makes sense to be able to shut the system off totally when you're working on it. I mean, this side is 12 volts, so you are fairly safe. It can, however, put out very high current, which can be very dangerous. This side here is where it gets very spicy. Out of there comes 240 volt, and it can kill. So if you don't know what you're doing, please don't do. Anyway, I hope that was an interesting little quick look for you. If you found it useful, please give me a thumbs up. I really appreciate it. And I'll catch you for the next one.
Remember to hit that like button and subscribe. Thanks for watching Daft Cat Brewing.